Hello, and welcome to the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast. Today, we're at DragonCon. We're with Echo and Lazarus Chernik. So that noise here in the background is the second floor of America Smart, where there's thousands of people walking by their booth. So we'll have at it here. So welcome, Echo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Echo is the coordinating judge for the Illustrators of the Future contest, and you've been doing that for...
This will be the...
Fourth year?
Or fourth year. Yes, I believe it's the fourth. It's my fourth year as a judge, third year as the coordinating judge, yes.
Good, and we got Lazarus also.
Hello.
And you've been a judge you were both at the same time, or you came...
I came the year after she was first a judge. I was signed on as a judge her very first year as a coordinating judge.
Oh, good.
No nepotism. That's not how it happened.
Good. Just
and we're lucky
Kevin
to be,
and Rebecca, no nepotism there
It's
either.
exciting to be able to do this together because it makes us an effective team.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good, and it's there's been a definite change and an upgrade of the contest just in terms of I think the quality of the final art from the winners with your art direction on it, and just in general with the growth of the contest. It's been really growing a lot since you guys have come on board.
Well, we've been trying to promote it a lot, but a lot of the winners, they enjoy the event and they enjoy the workshop a lot, so they actually spread the word themselves. Some of the past winners have been fantastic in just going to their friends and other artists and saying, hey, you got to check this out. And so we've been getting a lot of really good people entering.
We've also been building up a reputation of trying to educate the younger generation, paying it forward ourselves for several years before getting involved with the contest.
Just before we get into the part about the Illustrators of the Future contest itself, tell me about you as an artist and your career.
Well, as you know, my name is Echo Chernik. I am primarily an advertising Art Nouveau illustrator, but I also do a lot of editorial illustration and book covers, package designs. I've been an illustrator for 28 years, I believe, and I have worked pretty much in every publication field, genre, such. So I have a lot of diversity when it comes to illustration and my experiences, which is why I really enjoy being the coordinating judge because I can share all that information from all the different fields with the winners and the illustrators, as opposed to just being super focused on one particular specialty. So, and we've been doing the comic book shows and DragonCon for about 10 years now, which has been fantastic.
Yeah.
We love doing this. This is our chance to get out and actually meet people and talk to people. Otherwise, I'd spend all day in the studio painting and drawing. What else?
Okay, that's pretty impressive. And Lazarus, your history with connection with art?
Well, Echo and I met at art school at Pratt Institute in New York City. And I started running my very first art studio as the head of it in 1997 in New York City. And I've been an advertising creative director actually for both the client side and the agency side for many years before leaving a Fortune 500 client to join Echo on her career and focusing all my energy on promoting her and to help impart the knowledge that we have learned to everybody we possibly can. One of the important things that we learned together is from my side on the inside the studio and her side as a contractor, we learned both sides of the table in the entire process of illustration, and we were able to share with each other the knowledge that the other side had, which is an invaluable resource that most illustrators, most agencies don't have.
Right.
And so we've been able to further each other's career as well as provide as much information as possible. As far as an artist, I'm mostly a graphic designer, more than an illustrator, but I have illustrated and I do help Echo on her illustrations when she needs it or when she asks for it, or then she'll erase things if she doesn't like it. But
okay, good, thanks.
And it takes about it takes many years to learn all of the nuances of being an illustrator, and so so we really enjoy sharing everything that it's taken all this time to learn with the winners, so that they can hopefully use that early on in their career and get further faster. That's the whole goal of it. So.
Which is amazingly awesome. So on as a coordinating judge for the contest, you obviously are the first one to see the art that's being submitted. So what do you look for when you review the art that's being submitted to the contest?
Well, I look for, first, send in 3 pieces. I always make sure that they have 3 pieces, not just 1 piece. So make sure that you send in 3 pieces, their strongest pieces, whatever you feel the most confident about. Illustrations, if possible. If I have a choice between a really, really good set of drawings and a really, really good set of drawings, but that one tells a story as opposed to the other one is just a beautiful art, I'm going to go towards the one that tells the story because it is an illustration contest. So preferably if you have something that tells stories, lean towards that. But
Well, let's use this as a point to define illustration versus art.
Yes. So if, for instance, if they were to do a beautiful landscape, that would be, fine art. It would be, and it could be an absolutely gorgeous landscape. However, it could be a landscape in a science fiction world with like spaceships and, something's crashing. Well, then it would be an illustration because it would be telling a story about, what's happening in this landscape. So illustration specifically is for the purpose of communicating, an idea or telling a story, as opposed to just expressing yourself or being, beautiful.
On the agency side, in the corporate world, we define illustration as a literal work of art that is very specifically telling a story exactly the way it is intended. There may be symbolism, but there's no real allegory involved. There may be a metaphor, but it's not. It has to be as obvious as possible because the point of an illustration is to sell the story or to sell the product. Exactly, and there can't be any hemming or hawing by the public or the customer on exactly what it's supposed to be. So fine art is incredibly valuable, and we love it. But that's not illustration, and that's not what the contest is about.
Good. And I think for good examples of illustration, too, if anybody looks at the earlier pulp fiction stories in those magazines, Astounding Science Fiction and all those are illustrations. They very much enhance. You look at that and go like, wow, that's what this is about? Or it's a snapshot of this story.
Right, it's exactly, this is that character in the story. This is a scene from the story. Or if it is, any sort of metaphor, it may be this is that exact character, but with the feeling and the emotion that the story conveys as a whole. Right. And that's used to sell the story.
Good, that makes sense. All right, so that was, I want to make sure that people understood that because some people don't really understand the difference between art and illustration, and this is, like you said, this is an illustration contest.
And we talk about that a lot in the
workshop. In the
workshop as well.
That's after the fact of having won.
Right.
So for people entering in, and more and more people entering from all over the world right now, because we have entries from over 175 countries now, which is awesome. But they have to understand that that's what we're looking for. So they don't submit and then all of a sudden, well, I'm really good, but they have to understand it's got to be illustration and not fine art that they're submitting.
Right, and the judges don't know where the entries are from. They're all from all over the world, but they have no idea how old the person is entering them or where they're from. So
and just with people who are listening right now that don't know, the contest, Illustrates the Future contest, was created originally by L. Ron Hubbard, and as a means of providing that helping hand to the aspiring artist for the works to be seen and acknowledged. It's free to enter. It's only for the amateur artist, someone that's not been professionally published or sold, and that's defined at writersoffuture.com, and they'll enter the contest. It defines
they're not making a living from it.
Yeah, they're not making a living at it.
The judges are all credentialed professionals with incredible names and resumes. Present company excluded, actually. I'm probably not one of those. But the point is to determine by quality who are the best of the best that need recognition for what they're going to do in the future. And we have quite a few successful graduates, I would say, of the program that years later have very big names in both illustration and writing. And the point of the workshops, I want to say, is about how to learn how to be an illustrator and how to run a business as a contractor, because if you're a winner, you have the chops. You can do the art. Yeah. You're good enough. That's not a problem. We're not going to teach you how to paint. We're not going to teach you extra things. We're not really going to teach you how to illustrate. We will highlight things you need to focus, but you really need to know the X's and O's about how to navigate yourself as a professional in the career.
Good. And one other point, too, on the contest is that when you enter the contest, the judging is blind. So all the judges see is your artwork and a number assigned to it. So they have no idea if you're male, female, nationality, ethnic, anything. It's just you win because you're a darn good illustrator and for no other reason.
And I look at all the different styles that come in, and I try to make sure that I put through many different styles. So regardless of their style, enter. And, if they're just pure black and white art versus oil paintings versus digital art, all of them are accepted.
There are 12 winners every single year. And each of those 12 winners have often represented styles from across the board. One year we had one anime-style artist, we had one painterly artist, one fine artist who worked almost exclusively in black and white, a landscaper, a scene painter, editorial, concept art, portrait artists. So it doesn't matter what style it is, it only matters, can it tell a story and is it executed well?
Good. And now, some people are looking for that magic, if I just do X, then it goes. So I just want to make sure that we issue any disclaimers, and we're not looking for any X's. We're just, like you said, somebody with, if I just copy what was done before, or...
No, they should definitely enter your own style, your own work. Your work will speak for itself. Don't try to copy anybody else or, try to create a specific piece in a style that you think the judges will like. Do what you do and send that in, because I try to remain very open-minded and make sure that I look at each individual style for what it is. Even if it's not particularly my favorite or my taste, I can see if it's good execution and it's got good ideas, and I'm like, well, it's not my taste, but it looks really, really, it's really strong I know that people will like it. I send it through. The judges get to choose if they like it or not. Because I can tell it's a strong piece, and they can tell that they have talent.
Right.
So, and then I let the judges sort out whether or not they continue on from there. So.
Right.
As a judge, I don't judge what the story is. So as an illustration, I'm judging how well the story is told. So if it means less to me if the story is original than if I understand it. That's very important, because as far as some people are wondering, should I only draw spaceships or only dragons or only an original piece? It doesn't matter. If you are able to paint a spaceship, excellent. You'll have just as much of a chance as someone who paints a dragon, excellent. It doesn't matter. And while the contest is sci-fi fantasy oriented and publishing oriented, that there's certainly incredible amount of skill necessary to illustrate products and still lifes and other more broad spectrum subject matter.
And it's free to enter, so what's it going to hurt? It doesn't
exactly.
cost
You've got nothing,
to
losing everything to gain.
And you don't lose any of the copyrighted to
That's
what
right.
you
You
submitted.
maintain all the rights to your artwork.
Yeah, you don't lose anything at all. You have everything to gain.
You'll hear within by the end of the following quarter is when you'll find out about how you placed in the contest. And because of the increased repute of the contest, and because there's so many people that enter the contest, even the finalists now are issued certificates, and people can add that to their resume, saying I'm a finalist now in Illustrators of the Future. And art directors will pay attention to that too now.
And if you don't get in one quarter, enter again, because different quarters have different levels of entries and different numbers of entries. And sometimes we really want to pick one, but it's just there's just too many competitive ones.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's not. So enter every quarter.
And you can submit the same artwork more than one quarter. Very important point for one question somebody had is, can they submit arts to this contest and to another contest? This contest is not going to be publishing. You do not win publishing of your portfolio. You win an assignment of a story to illustrate. So there's no restrictions on what you do with the artwork that you submit. You can submit this one to here and to any other contest that you want. That's important for some people. That's
very important. Yes. Good. All right. So. Now, in terms of the contest itself, what do you see as the value of the Illustrators of the Future contest, both not just as a winner, but just having it as a contest itself that exists?
Oh, the Illustrators of the Future contest fantastic. It is. It's very hard to make a living as an illustrator when you're first starting out. You don't know. You're learning on the fly. You don't know what to charge, where to go, how to network, and you're sort of doing it all on your own. The Illustrators of the Future contest really provides a platform to launch your career and to meet other people and to talk to the other judges and really get a good start on your career. And it's a fantastic way to network and to be exposed out there. So
yeah,
one of the biggest discussion point among artists, especially young artists, is imposter syndrome. People need validation. Are they good enough? Am I good enough? I've been working on this for a while. Am I ready? Well, winning this contest says that you're ready. Not winning it does not mean that you are not ready. It just means that particular quarter, there happened to be somebody else who was more ready than you at this time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't care who you are in the world, how good your career is, how many awards you've won, there's always somebody better. So don't let, winning the contest is amazing. It's very, very affirming, but keep submitting. It is not winning is not a detriment to you in any way. Just keep going.
And the contest hopefully will build your self-confidence. Once you win and people they see your art, everybody's there is so excited about art. Everybody loves art, so it really helps build artists' confidence and their self-confidence in themselves.
I want to add that the sci-fi fantasy illustration community is pretty small, and we are a great big family. Not every one of us gets along, but when you join this, we all love each other, really. When you win the contest, you're thrown into a room with the gods of illustration: Larry Elmore, Cirello, Bob Eggleton, and when they're sitting in front of you, that they're not sitting on a podium and talking, and you're taking a lecture. They're sitting in a chair 3 feet from you. They're talking, their arms are folded, they're relaxed. Then you go out for a drink afterwards. They're building a community, and so anytime you see them again at a convention or any open forum, that they're there for you. They'll remember you. They'll shake your hand. They'll introduce you to other people around you, and suddenly you're involved. And suddenly now that Larry Elmore and Echo are people that you can go to and ask questions of. And suddenly, if there are clients that they have or they want to introduce you to that they're not working with anymore, but they see your style can work with them, you can get that introduction.
And we're here because every single judge is here because they are interested in helping people, helping pay it forward the way Hubbard envisioned it, and talking to the next generation of artists. I mean, they all enjoy it. That's why we're here. We wouldn't be here if we didn't want to be doing this.
Exactly. Now, one of the things that we use in the Illustrated Workshop, there's various essays by Mr. Hubbard on the subject of art itself, which we use also in the writer contest. But any comments you can say about like the value, or because he wrote these things obviously, a few decades ago because he passed away in 1986. But anything about the value of that, because those works are also available online too, just for artists to be able to apply on the communication of art and those types of things. And
we structured the workshop around each of his quotes, so that we discussed it when we discussed the workshop, and we discussed what he had to say, and then we also relate it to modern day things and practices and how it relates to today, because things change over time. So, but they still relate.
L. Ron Hubbard spent his entire life in publishing. And he knew all of the best illustrators in the world. Frank Frazetta did a lot of work with him. He knew him personally for a very long time. And being a writer and being a communicator, he distilled the information of what it meant to be a successful illustrator down. And it's something that it resonates through to today, and it affects everything. And artists, by the time they're ready to win, they may have heard some of these before, but to have them condensed into a curriculum with specific advice from a top-notch publisher tells them that this is more valid than a lot of the other advice that they get. That there's a lot of people who get degrees from art out there, take art classes, may teach small art classes, and they have their opinions on what art is. Well, this isn't art, this is illustration. And there's a difference.
Yeah.
And you need to understand and know the difference to really turn it into a career.
Good. So with respect to the contest, why should somebody, we've talked about it a little bit, but just straight point blank, why should somebody enter the Illustrators of the Future contest, and how do they do that?
Oh, why not enter? If they have any interest in being an illustrator or being a professional artist, enter. I mean, there's really no reason not to enter. Yeah. And they can do it on the website. It's easy to do. It's illustratorsofthefuture.com, right?
Uh-huh.
And then, but yes, I encourage everyone that is an interest in being an illustrator to enter. I wish I knew about it when I was in school. I would have entered. I didn't know about it though. That was the problem. That's why we're trying to spread the word about it.
It's not just for young people. That we've had winners everywhere from the age of 16 to in their 40s and 50s.
We had a winner a few years ago who was in the 60s.
Yep.
A lot of people, they have their careers when they're younger because they were forced to go down a career path that they were told that was good.
Yeah.
But they've always been an artist, and when they get older and they retire or their kids are growing up, they want to go back into it. So go back into it.
Yeah.
It takes about 10 years to become established as an illustrator, and it doesn't really matter when you start those 10 years.
Right.
So
it doesn't hurt in any shape or form. All it does is win for you. You get money, you get recognition, you get an award, you get a resume piece, you get it published out of it. And, as I said, we've had them all over the level of education. We've had high schoolers win, and these were amazing high schoolers.
Yeah.
And some of them don't even know what sort of art they want to go into, but they provided us with illustrations that were amazing. And and maybe it's a little intimidating to hear what it's like to be a career to have a career when you're only 16. But Echo was 14 when she decided on this career. I was 15 when I decided on this career. It happens.
Yeah.
Then you have people who have been doing it for 15, 20 years, and they haven't broke through. Life gets in the way. They start taking another job. Families, responsibilities take over. And finally they get the nerve to try something and to move on with that career. And there's validation. And Kina Tech is an amazing example of that story.
And I believe I believe in being open-minded about every opportunity that comes your way. When I get a call for an illustration and they say, "Do you want to do this?" I hear them out, even if I'm not sure if I want to do it. So I think that when something comes along your way, you don't know where it's going to lead you in your life. So by entering the contest, you might win, you might not, but if you do win, it'll lead you down a path to meet people that you would have never met before, and you don't know where that's going to lead. So
right.
It's another door. So it doesn't hurt to see what's there.
Awesome. So now, if somebody wants to be able to find out more, to discover Echo Chernik and your amazing art, how do they find you?
Well, they can find me at echochernik.com. I'm also on Facebook. My commercial work is at echo-x.com. They can come by Dragon Con booth
2218.
I'm also going to Gen Con and San Diego Comic Con, so definitely come by any of the conventions I'm at to ask any questions about it. I'm in the Seattle area, or you can just find me online on Facebook, and if you have any questions about the contest or anything else, just pop me a Facebook message and I can answer it for you.
And all the winners are listed publicly on illustratorsofthefuture.com, and many of them are at various conventions locally to help promote themselves and to sell directly. They're at Dragon Con, there's Comic Cons all across the country, and if you've recognized them, go up and talk to them. Ask them about the contest. They'll tell you about their experience, and I'm sure all of them will recommend to submit. You lose nothing, you gain everything.
Yeah, just talk to some of the past winners, see what they have to say. And they can tell you, they'll all have different experiences. They can tell you all about what they learned and, where it's led them and how it's helped them. Ask them the same questions that, we've been talking about today. So
good. And you can also... Go ahead.
I do have to say one thing for a soundbite. You win everything, you lose nothing.
Wow, there's a soundbite. So you can find out, again, at illustratorsofthefuture.com, and That's where you go to enter the contest, where you can find out about it, the rules of how to enter the contest. We also have a forum that you're welcome to join. It's on writersofthefuture.com, so you can go there and join the forum, which is open to writers and artists. We also have this podcast, which has a lot of interviews from past Illustrator winners and our judges. And we have a blog, which has a lot of great articles from both the writers and the artists, and a lot of great articles from our past judges, going back to Frank Frazetta, Kelly Freeze, and several others from that from the original start of the contest, who were there from the beginning, that used to illustrate Mr. Hubbard's work. So anyway, thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much, Echo and Lazarus, for being on this podcast.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Subscribe to the Writers of the Future podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Writers and Illustrators of the Future are contests created by L. Ron Hubbard to provide a means for the aspiring writer and artist to be seen and acknowledged. It is free to enter and open to new and amateur short story writers and artists of science fiction or fantasy. Thank you very much.